Hello and welcome. I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to do review shows of the Irish League, but I'm not just going to do the top flight. I'm going to do the Championship. I'm going to do the Premier Intermediate, and we're going to see how it goes. Listen, it's a new video, something different, something that I could enhance by bringing other people on board. Plenty of friends who are players at all the leagues, managers, etc. But I want to go solo in this first one just to see how we go. So here's the format. I'm going to go through a wee review of the three leagues as they stand at the minute here, and then I'm going to talk about certain things that have happened this season so far and just chat about them. So if you like what I'm doing here, leave a comment. If you don't like what I'm doing here, leave a comment on what I could do better, or maybe just not do it. But like and subscribe and interact, because this is all about interaction. This is a fan's view of the Irish League, and it's fans who watch the programmes or the videos, and it's fans that will make the league better. So here we go. Decided to do this wee video to talk about things that have stood out so far this season, and I want to use my so-called influence, which I don't like saying I have because I'm not that type of person, but apparently I do, and just show things. Now listen, I've put in a few wee clips of different games, and they're not my videos, they belong to the clubs, I think Linfield, Portadown, Newry City and all. And I've done it for two reasons. One, I think it's good to have the footage, and two, I want to try and direct people towards all the sort of clubs' YouTube channels, because all the clubs, like, as somebody who does YouTube, when you don't get views and videos, you give up on them, you stop doing them. Now, the most influence that we have, as people in clubs in Northern Ireland, is through social media. So after the video, go in the description and follow all of the links for all the different clubs in the Irish League, and that will help the clubs. And then if you give the videos a wee watch, if they've highlights up, give the videos a wee watch, because more views is good for the channels. It gets them out there more, and especially sort of in the Championship. And the Premier Intermediate doesn't really have a great social media presence yet, but hopefully that will change. I'm trying to change it at Port Stewart, started putting videos onto their social media. So anyway, here we go. We start off with the Sports Direct Nifl Premiership. And the early season moves Linfield, top of the league. Oisin said it in my video, Linfield to win the league. And so far, Linfield, they are top. They've done the business so far. Maybe not off the pitch, where they seem to be short in players, but on the pitch, Chris McKee and Joel Cooper standing out a mile. Chris McKee, is he the centre forward that they needed rather than Matthew Fitzpatrick? Is Chris McKee the main man for them? Is he the man who's going to score 25 goals this season? I think he will. Glentoran, second in the league. Warren Feeney's Glentoran, much ridiculed in pre-season by myself, by others. Disaster waiting to happen. Sitting second place in the league. Nell McGinn scoring goals again. Dara O'Connor looking like a good replacement for Conor McMenamin. Jay Donnelly back in the score sheet. Junior, like they always have a squad. They always have a really good squad. McLean's back. He's best centre back in the league, arguably. So Glentoran are there, they're in second place, flying. Crusaders started off the season on fire, didn't they? 9-0, they beat Carrick, and then they followed that up with a 4-0 victory at Newry. What's happened since? They've gone and drawn the last two games, including against 10 men lock all. But it's a wee blip. Ben Kennedy's back. Ben Kennedy, one of the standout players in the league. I know the season only 6 games old, but he's probably the standout player so far. Larne are undefeated in the league. They've drawn 3 games. Do they miss Sully? Glentoran are flying. Sully's in there. He does that role in midfield. He does the dirty work. Do Larne need a bit of a Sully? Who knows? Lock all. What do you say about Lock all? It's a surprise package so far. They've 8 points from their first run of fixtures. Newly promoted team. That's fantastic. Cliftonville. I know I haven't done that in order. Cliftonville are above Lock all. Cliftonville started off brilliantly with Jim Magilton. Then they met Linfield and got beat. I don't know what they expect from Cliftonville this season. They've still got really good players. Ben Wilson looks like he's a great signing. Time will tell with Cliftonville. I think they'll be alright. I think I said they'd finish 6th in the league, but on form, I think if Magilton keeps them sort of there instead of doing what Magilton likes to do, I think they'll be alright now. Anyway, right, Coleraine. Coleraine season started awful, in my opinion. It's been poor. Okay, they're level on points with Lock all. Coleraine haven't won in a month. That's the reality of it. They haven't won in a month. We'll talk about them later on. They're one of my points I want to bring up. Anyway, Carrick. They'll be disappointed. They beat Coleraine Dungannon. They went to Windsor. They drew with the Blues. Peakys looks like he's been a brilliant signing so far, but they suffered heavy defeats. 9-0 against Crusaders. Then they went and got beat 4-0 away at Cliftonville. Now they did turn them over again there in the County Antrim Shield, but that's neither here nor there. They lost against Ballymena at home. They lost against Newry at home. With the players Carrick have, I don't think that should be happening. I think they should be doing better so far. Anyway, Newry and Dungannon are next then, and they've had similar starts to the season. You know, more losses than wins. Both teams have new managers and they're still settling in. Then we have Glenavon, and as I record this here, it looks like Gary Hamilton might be out of a job very soon. They've had a horrendous start, haven't they? They've won one game against Ballymena, they're bottom, and they got a draw from being 2-0 down to Lock all. I'm going to talk about Gary Hamilton after. He's another one of my points. And then propping up the top flight, Ballymena. Now they had a horrendous fixture list to start the season. I don't think even their own fans expect them to get a point. Let's be honest, their first 5 fixtures are rotten. But last weekend they won. They beat Carrick away from home for the first 3 points of the season, which they had to do because last week they were beat by Knockbreda, who were bottom of the Championship in the County Antrim Shield. And Ballymena were nearly full strength for that game, if not full strength. So they're off the mark anyway. Every team in the top flight has at least got 3 points. The Championship then, the Player Fit Championship, the newly sponsored Player Fit Championship. And the surprise package are the team that are top of the league, Newington. Newington are playing out of Larne. They're playing out of Inver Park this season as their home ground. And they signed somebody called Zach Barr. Like Zach played at Port Stewart, played at Ballymacash. He's been around the town a bit. He's scoring goals for them. Hat-trick up against Stewart. Another 2 or 3 goals here and there. And they're top of the league. They're level on points with Dundela. They have a better goal difference. Dundela also, they're looking alright this season. And then you've got Bangor. They've continued where they left off last season. Lee Feeney seems to know how to manage a football team, and Lee Feeney is going to get a job in a bigger club. I would be very surprised if he's still at Bangor at the end of the season. I think he's destined for bigger things. Bangor level on points with the Welders, Stewart, Anna and Ballyclare. They're all on 10 points, so they're all there just off the top load. But a team who hasn't had the start that they wanted was Portadown. They've signed loads of players, but they won last Saturday against Anna in the Portadown derby That result, 4-1, Paul McElroy hat-trick, that could kick-start their season. And I expect Portadown to just start winning games now. I fully expect them to start winning games. I expect them to finish top of that league. Then the strugglers, Ards, Ballymallard, Dergview, Knockbreda, Tipton. He's in charge of Ards. He's losing his job, I'm telling you that now, if they don't turn the corner. I'm under the impression, I'm led to believe, he's one of the highest, if not the highest paid manager at that level. Curry might be the highest paid manager at that level actually. But anyway, Tipton's up there, but his team are struggling. And last weekend, James McLaughlin, who they signed from Coleraine, went and got himself sent off. And you've got Knockbreda, the bottom of the championship. They haven't got a single point. They beat Premiership opposition in the County Antrim Shield. They can't buy a point. It's going to be a long season for them. It's going to be a long season for Dergview. And if Ballymallard don't catch themselves on, it's going to be a long season for them. Right. The Player Fit Premier Intermediate League. Where do we start? It was the subject of controversy throughout the summer. The league was expanded to 14 teams. There's no split in the league. PSNI have got to stay up. Warrenpoint have came down. Coke and Raffer Island both got promoted. Coke are lucky to be promoted because there was an appeal from Donegal Celtic in the Ballymena League because there was some comet issue or something. I can't even remember specifically what it was. But Coke are there, and it's a 14-team league. And how do you put this? There's going to be great interest in the league throughout the year. It really is. So let's get through the teams and what's going on. Now, by the way, I am associated with Portstewart Football Club, so I don't want to say anything too controversial because I don't want it to come back and bite me. People will be putting it up on the wall. Peaky from Portstewart said this about our club, and this isn't what it's about. It's just an honest assessment of how things are. Firstly, Limavady, they're top of the league after 3 games. They've scored 22 goals and they've conceded 2. They've got players such as Ian Parkhill, Joe McCready, Lewis Tosh, are all Premiership quality players. They've got Championship and Premier Intermediate League experience in Pomeroy, Walker, Ryan Dougherty, Brown, and they've even brought in one of the best talents, in my opinion, in the north of the country here, Limavady boy himself, Luca Dougherty. Limavady at this point in time look like a cheat code. They really do. It's scary. So, now I should say, and I've mentioned it already, Limavady played 3 games. Portstewart played 2 games. The top flight teams have all played 6 and 7 games. And this is one thing, and this is a point. The fixturing for the Premier Intermediate League is awful. Portstewart don't have a league game now until next month because they're playing in Craig Memorial, they're playing in the Intermediate Cup, they're playing in the Irish Cup. Like 3 cups over the next period of weeks, and I just disagree with it. Anyway, let's talk about Portstewart. If you watch any of the videos, you'll see what's going on at Portstewart. But here's what I see. Portstewart players want to play football, they want the ball on the ground, they've got great technicians, but they're still finding their feet. From getting midfield up to the final third, they're just not quite gelling yet. Defensively, they've been brilliant. Johnny Watt at the back, he's 36 or 37 now, and he's absolutely phenomenal. I never give him as much credit as I should have when he played for Coleraine, but at the back for Portstewart, he is an absolute animal of a man. Look, going forward, Johnny knows that they have to be more ruthful in front of goal. They need to start scoring more goals. We'll take a 1-0 every game this season, don't get me wrong, but you'd rather have a 2-0 or a 3-0, you know what I mean? Warrenpoint, they've won their first 2 games, they've scored 10 and conceded 1. Like, let's be honest, Limavady and Warrenpoint look like the 2 top teams in that league. You know, even at this early stage, and I think a lot of people says before that that would be the case. Then, sort of underneath that there, you've teams that take points off each other. You know, Balmacash, they haven't hit the ground running as much this year as I thought they would. Queens haven't. Um, Queens haven't, they haven't. It's hard to tell. It's because of all these cup matches. They just skew everything. It's annoying. Look, there's teams that have got no points. Coke, Tobermore, Banbridge, and PSNI don't have a point yet, and they'll be looking, and they have to look in the next few weeks because there's no games. They'll be looking to get their points after this here break of regional cup fixtures. So that's where we're at. The three leagues are on the go. And let's talk about controversial stuff. Let's talk about the talking points. Now, I can't say anything too controversial because as a representative of Port Stewart can actually get sanctioned for me coming out with stuff. That's the rules. So what we have seen so far, the big talking point this season as far as football's gone is the refereeing. There's been decisions made that have had social media talking. Krangle giving a second yellow card to Bobby Burns off for time wasting. In the Championship, Zach Barr flicked the ball back to a goalkeeper for that was a free kick to the other team. Second yellow card sent off. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Common sense, man. Common sense. So like, that can't happen. You know, managers and all are losing the plot. Players are losing the plot because of decisions that have been made, and decisions that, if you use a common sense approach, will not be made. You know, there's a campaign to respect the referees, which is endorsed right up the top level. I agree with it. The refs have to be respected because without a ref, there's no game. But it has to be a two-way street. The refs have to respect the players. They have to respect the managers. They have to respect the emotion of the game, because football's an emotional game. From my playing days, look, I only played junior, intermediate, and I can't remember what they call the league, but it was the league below the top league before Nifl took over it, so whatever that was called, I can't mind. That's the only levels I played. I haven't played top flight football. But look, there was brutal refs, right? And they experienced me, who was hot-headed, mental, like mad as a box of frogs. I was never ever sent off for dissent. Yellow card, that's what they gave me. You see, if I turned around and gave the ref a mouthful, yellow card, and I would never open my mouth again. That's just the way, you know, if I've been yellow carded, I can't speak again. But you know what, even with brutal refs, see, anyone who had a personality and talked to you and treated you as a human being, you had respect for them. So if they made a wrong decision, look, you'd complain to the ref, you'd be emotional about the ref, but you'd accept his decision because you had that respect for him. And that's very important. And the referees, look, there's some really good refs in the league, but they're under so much pressure that they do make decisions that are wrong. You know, both sides need to sort of have a bit more understanding of each other. Respect the referees, respect the players. Goes both ways. That's all I'm saying on it. That's referees. Another big story this summer, Coleraine. I'm going to talk about Coleraine. Right, look, I've taken a step back from Coleraine, from video and from going to a lot of games. Port Stewart's taken over here at the minute, and I didn't realise how much Port Stewart would take over, but it has. Anyway, look, Coleraine. What this is, look, I infuriated fans with my opinions and infuriated the manager of the club with my opinions. But in my opinions, I'm entitled to my opinions, right or wrong. It's an opinion. Social media is a platform where you voice your opinions, right or wrong. It's a place where you can discuss with other people your opinions, rightly or wrongly. Again, respect. If you're talking to someone and they're talking to you, always be aware we're not all going to think the same. You know, if you put up a post on Twitter and you only get 3 likes for it, that doesn't matter. It's just your opinion. Your opinion doesn't have to be right. It's your opinion. Okay? Anyway, recruitment at Coleraine, in my opinion, was poor in the summer. Brought in Kelly from Larne. He looks like he's been a good signing so far. they've also brought in a journeyman centre back, and he looked like a desperate signing, to be honest with you. And they brought in a forward who's a journeyman, and he's in his mid-30s, and he's got a big contract. I don't get it. I don't get it. They brought in a couple of young boys. I call them no-lose gambles. They're probably small money, so it's not a big outlay. And they've got rid of a few boys, so that freed up the wages for them. Right? So look, that's how I feel about the recruitment in the summer. But there were stories at Coleraine. My God, there were stories at Coleraine in the summer. Conor McDermott, player of the season, by the way. Okay, him not playing for Coleraine, and you can dress this up whatever way you want. It's a loss. Okay, we all know the stories. They've been all over social media. We've seen the screenshots from conversations. We've read the Sunday World. It's a mess. Okay, we know that he's gone, but he was never replaced. He wasn't replaced as a player of the season. Now you got Lyndon Kane, who was a brilliant right back, still is a brilliant right back, but Coleraine have changed their shape. So Lyndon's playing as a centre back, he's playing as a wing back, then they changed their shape again, so he's a right back, and it's no good for anyone, you know. And that was the story of the summer. Conor McDermott until the takeover. £2 million over 5 years. Look, Coleraine need the money. There's no doubt in that. If they want to try and keep up with the big guns, they need the money. Okay, any club who wants to keep up with the big guns needs money. But I'm telling you this now, in my opinion, because it's my opinion, £2 million over 5 years is not enough for Coleraine to go and win a league. No, it's not enough. Is it the right thing to do? Yes, and it's the right thing to do because if you don't take that money, you get left further behind. Take the money, it's a gamble. Look, it is a gamble. See if it goes wrong and the club say it goes bust. Look, the club will reform. Happened with Rangers, went bust, they reformed. It happened to half the clubs in the League of Ireland, Cork City and Drogheda and Sligo, so I can't even mind Derry City. Look, they've all come back, their fans are still there, that will rebuild, and I think it's a good gamble to take. And Carrick, they brought in fellow Michael Smith from America. He's a new chief shareholder. I don't know what their plans are. It's not overly clear what their plans are, but Carrick look like they're going to come to the table and change things as well. So what? That's that. I touched on this earlier on. Glenavon, Gary Hamilton, right? I've written stuff here. I'm going to read off this. I've been using it as a sort of cue, but I'm going to read off this. Gary Hamilton is, as far as I'm aware, the longest serving ever manager of the Lurgan Blues. And he's on the verge of getting sacked. And he might already be sacked by the time this video is out. Okay, he's a man who's constantly had to work with a shoestring budget, bring in players from amateur league. He loses his best players season after season. Okay, for me, Gary should have left a long time ago. He's one of my favourite personalities in the Irish League, but he's taken Glenavon as far as he can, and he took them as far as he could a number of years ago. 2018-2019 season, to be precise. Look, Glenavon came to Coleraine in that season. It was October time. It was around October. Okay, Rod McRae had taken over at Coleraine, but anyway, Glenavon came down and they were absolutely sensational. I would go as far as saying it was the best away team performance I've seen at the showgrounds in as many years as I can remember. They were that good. Players, Tuffy, Josh Daniels, Reece Marshall, Stephen Murray, he scored a hat-trick that day, Sykes, Docherty, Singleton, Big Mitchell, who plays for Coleraine now. Glenavon looked like they were going to win the league that year. They were superb, and then January comes. They lose their key players, and that's that. Ben Docherty came to Coleraine for starters. You know, so what hope does Gary have? You know, you can't polish a turd. You can't keep polishing a turd. When he had the team was sold from underneath him. So they haven't had as strong a team since then, and you know, every season it's trying to get into this here European playoff, which they'll never win because they're not as strong as the teams above them. Summer passed, they lose Fitzpatrick, the Blues, they haven't replaced him with anywhere near the same quality. And look, Gary's a dead man walking, and it can't be enjoyable for Gary Hamilton being a manager at Glenavon. It just cannot be enjoyable. So that's my Gary story. Look, finally, my friends, Nifl. I love Nifl. Can I say anything derogatory about Nifl, or else poor sure get done? And I'm not going to. And I'll tell you what I am going to say here. I'll zoom this in. This year, this season, what we've seen from Nifl on social media is, with their improved budget, they're bringing more to the table. They've brought in Laurie. She's been doing wee pre-game interviews with fans around the country, and that interaction is needed because, look, the league, Northern Ireland football, is about the fans. You know, Nifl, without the fans, Nifl will not have a product to sell, and that's the truth of the matter. Brilliant. Then you've got David. He's going around and he's chatting to people behind the scenes at clubs to see what their work is. So you're seeing that there different angle, you know, which you didn't really see before. All positives. They're also showing championship highlights from a championship game every week. I've noticed it a few times now. That's a positive as well. So with the money from Sports Direct, they're using the increased budget to do more things. So that's all positive. But there's one thing that's missing. Okay? Now this isn't a Nifl specific problem, but it is. Irish League needs a highlights programme. No doubt in it. Needs a highlights programme. Look, BBC did a show last year and it didn't work. And in my opinion, it didn't work because the scheduling of it was crap. And the programme didn't know what it was. It wasn't a highlights programme. But it didn't go anywhere. They brought in players and they chatted to players and it just didn't go anywhere. Look, I switched off after Christmas. I stopped watching it because you waited till like Wednesday night or something for it to come on, the Tuesday or Wednesday night, and by that stage you're already looking forward to the next run of fixtures. And it was just a pointless programme. There's no surprise to me that they cancelled it, but it was the wrong programme in the first place. So I think the league deserves a highlights programme, a proper, you know, it doesn't have to be brilliant. Like, let's be honest, it's Irish League. Nothing's brilliant in the Irish League except for the fans. It just needs to be a programme that shows the highlights of the games, has a wee bit of chat, and then even dips into the championship and the intermediate and shows goals, you know, because look, all the clubs have VO cameras now. Well, not all the clubs, a lot of the clubs. And you can tap into that there and you can get highlights from the clubs who are doing stuff. You know, do something for everyone and get it on air. YouTube. Get it on air on YouTube. Sunday night 9 p.m. or Saturday night 10 p.m. Whatever. Look, it's hard to edit videos, I know it is. So Sunday night, I'd be happy as Larry, 9 o'clock or 9:30 a Sunday night, YouTube Premier, you know, the Irish League football show on YouTube. I think it'd be fantastic. And bring in young boys to chat about it. Don't be bringing in, you know, the usual BBC contingent. I'm not slagging them off, but do something fresh, do something different. You know, Bobby Burns, he's fantastic. Philip Lowry's fantastic. Bring boys like that in. Bring in fans. Have a bit of crack. Do something different. Listen, our league is about you, me, him, the fans. Everything is about the fans. Without the fans, the league doesn't work. So make everything fan orientated. Do it for the fans. And look, to be honest with you, that's it. So I just wanted to do a wee video. We love a wee video. Just chatting and coming out. The stuff that's in my head. Look, we've all got a platform of social media, whether it be Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or, you know, TikTok, whatever it is. We have a voice as fans, as people in clubs. We should use them. We can use them to highlight problems. We can use them to praise people when they've done something right. The only thing we don't do is we don't go in hard on each other. We don't don't run people down. And like, I'm guilty of it. Like, I've done it before, you know. People have run me down, but this is our league. This is our country. And we make the league what it is. So anyway, like, that's me done. The one thing to finish off is, if you're still listening and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you don't like it. But then that means that the Facebook, the YouTube algorithm will probably not recommend the video, so don't dislike it. And leave comments on sort of things that have happened in the Irish League this season, and I can pick up on them if we do another video in a few weeks, and we can talk about other things. And if anybody wants to sort of come on board and do something, send me a wee private message on Twitter or something, and we can see if we can arrange something, because I think it would be good to try and do something, you know, that sort of fan orientated sort of wee program, you know, somebody could chat to me about, you know, what way they see things in the league, and it's, you know, because we're all going to have different viewpoints. So yeah, that's me.